to go live.
Okay.
1 second.
Uh, it, it,
And welcome once again to the Zodiac Lounge, your friendly neighborhood basement speakeasy where everything is beautiful. So come on in, sit down, put your feet up, take your mask off, both literally and figuratively. We are among friends. We're in a great place. But out there, out in that world, dudes, there's some crazy stuff going down. Um, New York is getting a little weird, and I just signed a 2-year lease, so I have 24 months to make this decision. But if it doesn't get safer, I'm going to be relocating. And I have a lot of friends in a lot of places. And so far, the grand winner, is somebody in Fernandino Beach, Florida. And I thought, I don't know how I would do there. And I was said, till you'll fit right in. Well, in Florida, in sunny Florida, we see on our screen right now, this is how they roll. This is a story about a 22-year-old guy who got arrested for throwing an alligator through a Wendy's drive-through window at 2 in the morning. These are going to be my neighbors if I move down there. Apparently, he thought he would play a prank on a friend who was working there. At 2 in the morning, I'm assuming he was a little high. He picks up an alligator from the side of the road and hurls it through the window. And even though his friend wasn't working, he just figured it would be a cute prank. Well, dude got slapped. Weapon and unlawful possession of an alligator, and his parents said he's a good boy. He was only kidding around. So this is what's going on in that world out there that they want us all to live in, except that I don't think I'm going to be budging. I'll probably be staying in New York. In other news from that world, Dr. Seuss is still under fire because he is spreading racist propaganda. Mr. Potato Head, that seems to be settled right now, although there are a couple of states that are lobbying for Dr. Seuss, New York being one of them. They're going to keep his books in the libraries, but they're not going to sell them anywhere else. And that's what we have going on. And I hope your week was better than mine, or at least better than that poor worker at Wendy's. I mean, I could just hear it now. Sir, this is a Wendy's. So we have an awesome guest tonight. We have Scott Wass, who is pretty amazing. We met a couple of weeks ago. Here he is. And we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but he's also going to be doing a trunk show. So before we start the interview, I would like you to see just a sample of his work. And I'm doing this completely out of sequence. So you're going to see that sample of his work. Here it is. So, Scott, they are spectacular. And we're going to feature those later. I missed a cue and I asked Scott to roll your ad before we planned. And that's what happens when you're live, folks. Wishing
well,
I
thank,
was dead. Here I am live. So, you've got a pretty extraordinary story. We met in a crowdcast event, we met in chat. And then we started talking, and I thought you would be a pretty cool guest to have because of your personal story. And then you came to meet me on the Upper West Side and to show me your wands because we're sponsoring a trunk show for you tomorrow, and we're going to get to that later. We're going to play your video again. We might play it
bless,
all night if I keep on screwing up.
bless,
But
bless.
you've got a pretty interesting journey. So why don't you start by telling us about how you became aware, first of all, about any intuitive ability you had, any spiritual healing ability that you had. You told me something spectacular about your very early life. So,
Yeah, well, when I was born, I didn't have enough to fight off the cold,
hmm
and so I was put in a bubble for a year and a half of my life. So my mother couldn't, nobody could touch me. So I think that that's where it all started because I had to develop my other gifts and my other
hmm
senses to see what was going on around me and feel the love from my mother because she was there every day, you know.
and you could
So
actually feel it.
yeah, her love is
Excellent.
what,
Now,
yeah,
what's interesting is that I've been told, and I've also learned in school, that children with trauma in their early life, whether it's an abusive home or a trauma like you experienced, I mean, that was certainly traumatic because babies do need to be held, physically touched in the first 2 years of their life because it helps them learn to bond as they get older. But I was told that children who in early life develop an intuitive ability because you just have to be hyper aware and hyper vigilant. So it sounds like the same thing happened to you from being in this bubble, and you were so receptive that you were able to feel all the love coming to you,
yeah.
um, which is beautiful. How long did that go on for?
Until I was about 1.5 years old, 2 years old, I
Okay.
was in the so it went from an incubator to a bubble around the bed, you know.
hmm
I remember bits and pieces of it, not a lot of it, but you know,
hmm
I was young, but I
Okay.
remember that it was definitely tragic. It was like something that
Yeah.
really affected me.
And then it just went away on its own, or
My doctor was shooting me up with gamma glucans, something like that, and
uh-huh.
doing that, I started to heal myself, and I became healed. And the
Oh
doctors thought it
wow.
was a miracle. Thought it was a miracle,
Uh-huh.
but am I echoing or freezing?
I think we like I did, but it looks like we're coming back to life again somehow. Sorry, folks. We're just can everybody hear us? I'm gonna check Crowdcast chat on my phone and see what's going on. Is anyone seeing or hearing us? Can you guys see us?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just put my headset in. Maybe that's better.
That is a lot better. Cool. All right. So then you started growing up and you already had a highly developed intuitive ability. And you told me in our prep that you had your first premonition when you were 7 years old. Did that
Yes,
scare you?
it did. It scared me a lot. It actually scared me so much that it kind of shunned me away from it a little bit. And then
Uh huh.
as I got older, it was my best friend's father. I kept on seeing him over the porch, like holding his chest.
Oh, wow.
So, and then a week later, he had passed away of a heart attack on the porch. So that kind of
Oh,
freaked
my
me out a
God.
little bit.
Yeah.
But then as I
And,
got older, I started to develop it and I went more towards animals and nature.
oh, yeah, like an animal communicator?
Yeah, and healing animals and
Oh,
communicating
cool.
with the
Have
plants
you
and
done
stuff.
that
And
since? Have you worked as an animal? Because a lot of people are doing that.
I've done it my
I'm
whole life.
wondering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
wounded
someone
animals just seem
suggested.
to find me.
Uh-huh. Okay. And so you just continued. Were you very open about it, or did you keep that information to yourself?
At first, I was open about it, but then, getting the reactions from people, and I'm, Roman Catholic. I was raised Roman Catholic, so
hmm
can imagine the shun I got from that era
Oh yeah. Did they tell
about
you it
it.
was the
So,
devil?
uh, therapy or something, stupid. My
Uh-huh.
mother laughed at her and just, okay.
Yeah, I was an altar boy, and the priest kept on telling me that it was the devil. He's the devil's in your heart. I says, no, he's in my pants. You know, and if you're really good, I'll let you meet him.
Exactly. I love it.
Us on
Anybody. And
Easter
then I
Sunday at
just,
6 in the morning. It was like, if that's the devil,
Mm.
that is no devil. The devil would not be here in this scenario. So then, as you grew, you got into your teens. How did that work out?
I got into my teens. I was a gymnast, so I was very athlete and then athletic, and then I started just do normal things in school
Mm-hmm.
and forgot about my magic. I still felt everything, but I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
living it.
Yeah.
You know, I was living the mundane life, like you would say.
Yeah. 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 Well, mundane life is important for balance because if you have too much of one thing, you're completely out of whack in the mundane world. And if you're too mundane, you have no access to spiritual. So it sounds like you sort of found a natural balance um,
I,
just to keep yourself centered and to keep yourself active and functional in both worlds. So
totally.
you kept away from it for how long? How long did you stay away from all that?
Probably for a good 10, 15 years.
Uh huh. Okay.
I still had it in me and I was still
Yeah.
studying and I was giving everything inwards, but I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. So that's why I say that I kind of like for 15 years, I was
Hmm.
kind of shunned away from it because I wasn't talking about it with people. I wasn't giving readings. I was just doing everything internal,
When did you start
meditating.
reading? How do you learn to start reading?
My sister gave me my first tarot deck at 15 years old.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so from there, I started to read it. And I never read the booklet. I always just
Good.
let the cards talk to me. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
use the cards as a bridge. So I use
Hmm.
my clairvoyancy, my regular gifts, but the
Hmm.
cards is just helps guide me along the way.
Hmm.
And
Helps
I
you
think people
validate.
like to see something tangible. Like they like to see
Yeah.
something in front of them. So I think it entertains the people as well when they see the cards.
Yeah. Also, I think it gives you a little bit, they perceive you to be a little bit more legitimate because you're actually working with a physical tool. It's funny because when I teach tarot, the first lesson is everybody gets a deck. They all get their materials with their tuition. And you have to take the plastic off the deck. And I take, first things first, the most important thing about reading tarot, and I pulled a white book out. So you see this little white book? This is the most important part of this entire course. What you have to do with this book, and then I tear it in half, tear it up, and throw it away because we're going to teach you how to develop your own dialect in this language because it is
The
such
best
a bunch
advice
of
ever.
BS. I know, it's insane. It's like the Queen of Swords is always told, every book that I've read said that she's a middle-aged, dark-haired, middle-aged woman with a domineering personality. And it's like, no, she's not. Queens are about control. Trust me. I dated all of
Hmm.
them. It's complete,
Hello.
yeah. Swords are about taking action, being proactive. So basically, the Queen of Swords means take charge. Okay.
Take
Throw the damn
action.
white book away. Right.
No
Um,
bullshit.
And it's cool that you knew that instinctively. I, like an idiot, I followed the white book for about a year and I was like, this is some straight up bullshit. And then I met the person who trained me. So she set me straight because she trained
There
me
you
on
go.
the Visconti Sforza deck where the seven of swords is like seven swords. So you have to know numerology, you got to know sword energy, and you really have to let your internal work connect with that image and then fill in all the blanks for you. But yeah, that white book stuff was crazy. So, how old were you then when you got your tarot deck?
I was 15 going on 16.
Okay, cool. It's a good time
Yeah,
because
and a
that's
lot of things like that just came intuitively, like putting salt around me, or when I felt the evil forces around me when I was a kid, I would surround myself with the white light.
uh-huh. Did
So,
you
yeah,
when you were like hanging out like in nature in the park, were you attracted to different plants? Did you like cut different plants and take them home and not know what to do with them?
yes. And I would also be attracted to different animals. My mother would tell
Okay.
you the animals. I had a pet raccoon.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? That's
yeah,
very
I used
cool.
to call him
In New
Racky.
York.
Yeah.
That's
I found him
awesome.
and he had a broken paw, so I mended him back to health. And he always used to come every night, and I would feed him and pet him. And he would sit with
Oh,
me
how
on the
sweet.
porch.
That is
Yeah,
so sweet. So there is
yeah.
you were like, okay, like Snow White. dealing with all the animals and
Yeah.
birds of the forest and
Yeah, I don't know how
communicating
much
with
my
them.
mother appreciated it.
Yeah, well, they got a little iffy about exotic pets. I brought a snake home from the park, and my mother like flipped out. It was a cute little thing, little black
Yeah,
snake.
forget it. My snake
Yeah.
story is a little bit more intense. My mother she's a real estate. So I went to one of her buildings
Uh huh.
because some guy tried to blow up his store to get money from insurance. So it was a police barricade, but I noticed that there was a snake that was left in there. So I broke in at night, took my mother's keys to the building, broke in at night, and saved the snake. The next morning, my mother woke up and was like, "What is this doing here?" She flipped out because I went on a crime scene.
Did you at least have it
So
in a
that's my snake
container?
story.
Was
Yeah,
he
it
just
was in the
hanging around the
cage.
house? Oh, okay. Because I thought maybe you just sort of let him roam around at will. That's a riot. So this was all of you. So you were basically bouncing back and forth between the spiritual and the mundane, and then we have you getting to a point of um, of transition where you talk to us about your business. You were very successful.
Yeah, I was a hair. Well, I'm still a hairstylist, but
Hmm.
I was a stylist for 25 years, and I owned a salon for 10 years. So I did a lot of editorial, a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. And just it started to drain me and
Hmm.
superficial, too superficial. It was the pictures of Khloe Kardashian or, women want to look like that. And, it just was
Hmm.
killing my soul. So I figured it was time. Once my leaf was up at 10 years, I said, that's it. I'm going to jump into my healing and
Hmm.
get out of this. And
Well, you mentioned something in the green room that I'd like you to talk about. You said something about psychic blowouts.
oh, yeah. So at one point, I tried to infuse my spiritual with the hair,
Uh huh.
and I used to do what's called the psychic blowout. So women would come into my salon and they would come and get a blow dry, and I would give them a psychic reading at the same time, and maybe some teas or herbal medicine to help them out because I
Uh
study
huh.
herbology, and it was very nice. It was a hit. I mean, we got talked up on the papers in New York and stuff like that, but
Oh, cool.
I just felt like it was, I don't know. I was giving, it wasn't meshing the way, it wasn't the time. It wasn't right at the moment. So it may come
Hmm.
back a little bit later. So I had to, you know, it was, the world is too superficial. So I had to go and start healing people on the inside. And then maybe I'll come back to healing people on the outside and making them beautiful again, you know?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. It's a very good way to do it. I mean, it's hard to mix what people refer to as a legit business with something spiritual. Because I found that clients want you to be an expert in one or the other and not both, because then they just leave you and go to somebody with less talent because they got a little flipped out. And I can understand that in the beauty industry because you're seeing women half the time their makeup gets washed off at the shampoo bowl, and you're seeing them with wet hair, and you know every single thing about them, and they tell you all their secrets, and now you're reading them. It's even more intimate, and it probably flips them out. So
A little
it's
bit. And
interesting
also,
that you.
the hair is the most powerful thing, carries a lot of
Yeah.
energy.
Hmm.
So you can draw a lot from the person through their hair, and you're with them for 45 minutes. So it's very good. It's personal. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
Hmm.
experience. It's just I felt that me being the owner of the salon, I had to worry about what my clients were thinking, and half of them didn't like it, and half of them liked it. And,
Gotcha.
there's a lot of stigma that comes with
Yeah, yeah.
being a mystical person. People think,
Absolutely.
oh, you worship the devil, or you're this or you're that, and it's never
Or you're
like,
a fake
no,
because there were so many fakes that got caught that they assume all of us are fakes. Yeah.
exactly. And the real ones are the ones that don't tell you.
Hmm.
And then when they give you an advice or they tell you something spiritually and don't ask for money, those are the real ones. Not saying that when you ask for money it's not real, but what I'm saying is sometimes we just want to give our heart and our information because that's
Mhm.
our gift, you know?
Well,
And
we're healers. In ancient
exactly,
times, the healers lived in a little hut right at the edge of the village boundary. And their job was to counsel people, to heal them with herbs, to give them ritual, to enrich their lives, to make sure that they were secure. It was sort of like the role of, well, it was the role of a priest, rabbi, minister, imam, anything like that.
totally.
And then the people in the village would bring them food, bring them fabric to make their clothes, share their harvests with them. So that was the same as paying them because they didn't have currency. They just shared whatever they reaped. But I do agree with you because there wasn't a healer in the ancient world. If you were walking down the street and you saw somebody in need, you were going to stop. And it wasn't about what are you going to bring to my hut later. It was just because this is what you do.
It was
Um,
the kindness of the heart, compassion.
yeah.
And
Now,
I
are you
always say
also?
that when I give, go ahead. No,
No,
you go.
finish, please. When you give what?
No, just that the transfer of energy is very important. It doesn't always have to be money. It could be something doing something kind for someone,
Hmm.
a homeless animal, a homeless person.
Hmm. Hmm.
As long as the energy is flowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are you an empath? Do you feel what other people are feeling? Me
Yes.
too. And today I was running across Columbus Avenue, going to help set up for your event tomorrow, which we're going to get to in a minute. And there was somebody walking down 79th Street toward me. I'm almost in tears. It was an older person. He had a cane, and I could just see by the look on his face that he was really feeling kind of lonely. So we made eye contact. I smiled. I said, "Hi, how are you today?" He says, "You're the first person who asked me, and it's already 2 o'clock." I said, "So then, how are you?" And we chatted a little bit. And when I was leaving, he said, "Young man," and then I thought, well, maybe he's blind because I'm not young. But he thanked me for taking a minute to actually notice him. He says, "When you get to be my age, people see right through you." But there was something going on in my chest as I saw him coming. I just felt whatever he was projecting. And it only takes a minute. And this is for all of us. You make eye contact with somebody on the street, smile. Even if you wear that goddamn mask, people can see your eyes smiling. Nod your head, acknowledge them. I have an
Do a
office in
little
New
wink.
Jersey. I have to go through Penn Station, and this homeless woman came up to me. She was out of her mind. She was, "You got some money for me?" And I said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't. I don't have anything that I can share, but I hope you do well today." She goes, "You're talking to me." It's like, you a ghost? Because I thought maybe she was an apparition, and she did that. No, she's nobody ever talks to me. And then she told me her name, where she lived, and I said,
Yeah.
"Thank you. I'm Anthony Russell." I told her where I lived, and I wished her a nice day. And then she went and she must have talked to somebody else. She goes, "You all need to be more like that motherfucker over there." It
Yeah.
takes 2 seconds to be kind. And you never know the kind of change you can make in somebody's day. So,
I'm telling you, I when it was pouring raining here, I noticed a woman under the scaffold and she had no
uh-huh.
socks on and her shoes were wet. So I ran home, grabbed some socks and a blanket or something, a sweater, and I went and I gave it to her and she just said, "Thank you for seeing me." And it broke my
Exactly.
heart. I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh my God." You know, because they feel blind, they feel like they're invisible.
absolutely. Well, a lot of times they are. People look right through them. But this is all part of healing. This is part of what we do. You don't need to razzle dazzle somebody with fireworks and circus tricks and stuff like that.
It's
All you
true.
have to do is be receptive. And it sounds like you got that. You have a lot of that um, in you. It's just about being kind. And then you find that when you do things like that, you're paid back in other ways.
Totally.
Something really fortunate might happen. But I want to hear about how you juggled this whole hair salon psychic thing. I'm assuming you probably figured out to work your day gig, and then you had a side hustle with your healing business. Is that true?
Yes. So I would do my day business with my salon, and then I would start my healing I would help friends, family, the animals, and stuff like that. And then I started to come out more and more, and I came out of the closet, and I was just like
Came out of the broom closet.
the broom closet
Yeah. Yeah.
for the
How was
seconds.
that for you compared to coming out of the other closet? Which one was harder?
Um, I think the broom closet was harder, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I told my mom and my dad and my sisters I was gay at Thanksgiving. Like, pass me the peas, I'm gay. You know, my father was like, I knew all along, and my mom was like, no. But then
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
watched Oprah, and she was okay. After a while, watching Oprah.
I told my mom to talk to her hairdresser. I
That's a
said,
good
"You
one
love
too.
Dennis. What's the matter with me?"
Well, Dennis is not my son.
Exactly. Plus, he makes me beautiful. It's like, well, he makes you okay. Yeah, because your roots are coming in, and he didn't tell you, and I could see them from across the street.
I
But
love it.
but it is easier in a situation. People don't understand that when you really do have this, um, it's difficult. I mean, I still find myself. People say, "Well, what do you do?" And I say nothing. And now that I'm
Mhm.
older, they assume that well, what did you used to do? It's like, I've never really done a thing in my life because you don't want to deal with the judgment. And then how do you feel
Or
about,
this
did anybody ever ask you to do tricks for them? Oh, show me, do something for me.
all
Yeah.
the time they say, "What number am I thinking?" or "What did I eat for lunch yesterday?" Or and sometimes I'll freak them out, like I'll tell them, and they'll be like, "Oh
Hmm.
my God."
Yeah.
But you don't want to be tested, or like, who wants to be
No,
tested? It's
I
like,
know.
I don't have to prove myself to anybody. You believe it or you don't.
Exactly. Exactly. But
And then,
now go ahead.
no,
Now
go
you're
ahead.
out. You're
Yes.
totally out, so everybody knows. And I start messing with them. I'll tell them when they say, tell me something I don't know. It's like, oh my God, I know how you're gonna die. And then I get really freaked out. And I don't. I'm not saying anything. It's like, it's like if you have the nerve to come up to me and ask me to jump through this hoop all the way up here, I'm gonna mess with you. Because I
That's
get a
true.
little belligerent. This is the other thing about trickster energy that people don't understand. You never know when we're going to go around the bend. So, so
Play
we
with
have
fire
some
a
of that.
little bit.
If anybody has any questions for Scott, um, oh Andrew, that's so sweet of you. Andrew says you guys are a blessing. That's so sweet. Any questions? Put them in
Oh,
chat or put them in the question queue. Um, but we're going to
and
continue going on. So you told me that you then started making products. So what kind of products were you making? Herbal tinctures and things like that, or what kind
yes,
of
I
product
started out
line did
with herbal tinctures. I was
uh-huh.
making reishi tea. Reishi
Hmm.
mushroom is
Hmm.
a 10,000-year-old mushroom. It's the herb of immortality.
Oh
It's
wow.
an amazing, amazing mushroom. So I started making a tea out of it. And then I started making turmeric milk and working with rose. Rose is wonderful because it has a component in it that has something that helps stop or slow down the aging process in the human body. Hello?
Yeah, you there?
Okay,
Good.
yeah, I'm here.
I think that's why they
So I,
rose was in so many ancient formulas. When they found Cleopatra's workshop by the Dead Sea, yeah, no, it was by the Dead Sea. A lot of her beauty creams and things like that had either distilled rose water or rose oil, and it was all from the Damascus rose, one
yep,
particular type of rose. And I do know because I worked with herbalism too. I had a company right before I got sick in the 90s. I was doing really, really well. I was working with essential oils, and I knew the healing quality of rose, and I got pink eye, and it was
mm,
like on a Saturday night, and nothing. There were no doctors to call in anything, And I went to the corner and I bought one single red rose and I put it in boiling water and mashed it in my mortar and pestle into a poultice. I threw a couple of chamomile flowers in from my chamomile tea and some lavender, and I made a poultice and I put it on my eye, and I was good in about 4 hours.
Oh, I
So you
love
start,
it.
yeah. So once you learn how to work with these things, you can get them anywhere. I always tell people that your supermarket is your best friend. You can find more healing substances in the spice aisle
Totally.
than.
Chickweed is great for eczema
Mhm.
or itching things on your skin. You make a
Also,
poultice out of it the
cystitis.
same way.
A lot of my
Cystitis.
clients had ovarian cyst, and parsley and chickweed used to break them up in a matter of 12 days. It was
Yeah, it's really
unbelievable.
amazing. It's amazing
Yeah.
what herbs and plants can do. They're there to help us,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's why I think, hmm
Scott Harney has a show on herbalism on Friday nights. You should check it out. Everybody should check it
I'm
out.
definitely
Really
going to check
awesome. It
it
was
out.
great last night. They were talking about flying ointments and things like that.
Oh,
And you had a
nice. Yeah, I'm going to
brilliant.
check them out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you were doing herbal things, and then you told me a funny story about somebody walking up to you, and I want to get to that, but we're going to take 60 seconds because we are now accepting 30 to 60-second promo spots for your business, and we're doing advertising spots for free. And we got our first one from a former guest of mine from a few weeks ago, Darshna Patel. So if you have anything that you'd like to promote, if you want to promote yourself or your business, or if you know anybody that you think would benefit from advertising on our show, let them know. But Scott and I are going to come back to you and continue learning about the things that he makes and how it has brought him to where he is today, right after this commercial message.
The world becomes more complex and our situations more entangled. Our ability to see from a new perspective, feel from a place of inner connection, and respond from a core inner balance is essential. We are each a vital function of an infinitely intelligent, evolving equation. If you have awakened to your vibrational nature and are unraveling your way out of yesterday's limitations, welcome to your multidimensional potential. I'm Darshna Patel, creator of Ionation. I'm a resource for individuals and organizations who seek to liberate greater degrees of their multidimensional capacities using the lens, language, and logic of vibrational alchemy and intelligence. Shift to a higher way of being and schedule a 60-minute session with me today. Learn more at turnyourion.com.
Okay, so before we pick up, Scott Harney, do we have any questions or anything going on? Because I'm having trouble going between my phone and everything else.
We don't have a question, but Norsey says, just an observation. Thank you both for being a giver.
Ah, that
But
is
if
so sweet.
anyone would like to come on, I'm going to put the link in again. You can come on and ask a question and make a statement on eCam. I'm going to put the link in right now. Thank you.
Andrew in chat, because now my phone is back on, it says, where can you get your tea? And is there a website? So tell us about your up and coming website and where can anybody get your products?
So my up and coming website is
Hmm.
intotheether.com.
Hmm.
But I haven't developed it. It's still in the process of being developed.
Hmm.
So you can get my teas through Facebook or esoteric.com.
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
you're going to
Esoteric New
be,
York.
uh, your Facebook information so people know where how to reach you on Facebook. What's your page?
Scott Wass, the same,
Okay.
my name, Scott Wass.
Okay. Okay. So just search for him on Facebook, connect with him there. Or you can come and meet him tomorrow between
Yeah.
noon and 5 at 102 West 79th Street. But before we get to that, I want you to hear the backstory. So you told me a fun story. You were working in your salon and you went outside and what was it? You tell it.
So Well, first it starts with that I've always wanted my magical wand,
Hmm.
but I knew that magical people shouldn't buy their things. It comes to you. It's like finding something from your past.
Hmm.
So I knew I was going to find my wand eventually. And then actually a little bit later, I see this guy. I'm outside smoking a cigarette in front of my salon. And then this guy walks up to me and he looks to his left and he looks to his right and he pulls in his jack and he's like, "You want to buy a wand?" And he's like, I'm like, where the hell did you get that? And he's like, $50, $50. And I'm like, all right, I'll give you $50 for it.
So yeah,
So
so
I
it came
bought
to
it
you.
from him. And then a year later, I had it. I worked with it. It was very magical. It was very powerful. And then
Mhm.
someone made a comment about it. And I started making my wands, molded after this wand that came to me from off the street.
And do you have any you can hold up and show us?
Yeah, I got this one I just made. I'm going to show it in the show
Wow,
tomorrow.
that's pretty amazing. Maybe we can play your video again because your work is just so beautiful. Yes. Oh my God, that's awesome.
So these glow in the dark as well.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So you'll be able to
So
see
you,
that tomorrow if you come on by and check it out.
yeah. So tomorrow, Mark Tangeloff, who was a guest on my very first show here, owns Astro West Fine Minerals, and he has amazing products in his store. He has merchandise from $5 to 5 million on display. And when Scott first told me that he made wands, we talked a little bit. Tell us about the construction. How do you make them? How do they start out?
So they start out with the base of copper
Uh-huh.
because
Why
copper
copper?
is the purest form of energy. It transmits energy. It's back from Egypt days. They used copper to transmit energy.
Hmm.
So the copper is the base, and then I paint it, and it's all organic paint. And I use gold leaf, and then I use high-end crystals.
Hmm.
And I let the crystals talk to me. So if I make a wand, like this is a manifestation wand.
Okay.
So it has black obsidian, it has rose for love, black obsidian for letting go of limiting beliefs. It has citrine for it to bring luck and money. It
Hmm.
has a little bit of amethyst for psychic protection and psychic development. And of course, crystal is the purest amplifier of them all.
Absolutely. It'll
Yeah,
it'll amp up anything that's around it. Also, it directs. Now, a wand is actually an extension of your arm, of your hand.
yes.
So,
So
and
what
it's
you
also
do is you put the energy in the crystal, in the copper, and then the energy from the bottom is what comes from the universe,
mhm,
connects with your intention, and then you put it back out into the universe, or you
okay,
create your little spells.
right. Or you can also put it into an object or use it on a person to heal them, depending on
Yes,
what,
all my wands are for healing, but you can use them for other things. But yes, they're for healing.
Okay. Uh, Jacqueline Christina in chat says, "What has been your wildest experience or something that has taken you by complete surprise doing readings?"
My wild experience that took me by surprise was I told one of my clients as I was doing her hair, I gave her a psychic blowout, and
Mhm.
I told her she was going to have a boy or something like this. And she was
Uh-huh.
like, "No, I'm too old to have children."
So she wasn't
She
even
called me a
pregnant?
year, no, wasn't even pregnant. So
That's
she called me a
awesome.
year later and she told me her daughter transitioned into a boy.
Oh, wow. Okay. So she
Yeah.
got her
She
boy.
was like, yeah, she was like, "I can't believe it, Scott. That happened, I thought of you immediately." And I'm like,
That
wow, that's crazy.
that is
Because I
so
didn't know
fun.
it was that. I just felt the male energy
Uh-huh.
around her. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess you're going to, because I know you have a daughter, I guess you're going to have a boy or something. And she was like, yeah, I had a boy, all right.
That's pretty funny. So
Yeah.
when did you begin making wands like mass produced? Like when did you just start putting a lot of time into that?
About a
What
year and a
made
half
you?
ago.
Oh yeah. And was there
Yeah,
something that
after
made
I
you want
closed
to?
my salon.
Okay. So after you were presented with your wand by the universe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a sign from God
Uh-huh. Or somebody, but that was cool because I would have been
or
afraid that he was
somebody. Yeah.
pulling a gun out. Somebody walks
Well,
up to
that's
me,
what I
looks around,
thought.
sticks their hand in their coat. I'm like off like a shot, man. It's like, I'm
You
sorry.
know, I'm
Yeah.
born and raised in New York, baby. I had my scissors in my hand. I was ready to
Uh,
go. I was like, whatever this man is about to do, I'm ready. So when
you're
I
gonna
called, I
undo
saw
it.
the wand. I was like, all right, you're good, you're good.
That is
I was like,
so funny. If Scott Harney could run your wand slideshow again, I think this would be a great time because there might be people that missed it the first time, or
mm-hmm.
we can get a better look at it. But your work is just so beautiful,
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
I'm looking. So if anybody's going to be in the neighborhood, come on by, meet Scott. I'm going to be there with him from noon to 5. And I've got to tell you, those are only 7 of the pieces that he made. They're all one of a kind, all made by hand. You can see the integrity of the craftsmanship. And what really proves this, the gallery, Astro West Minerals, is one of the premier mineral galleries in the country, possibly the world. He is very, very fussy. We don't have any specimens in there that aren't exactly as they are when they come out of the ground. He just wants the best quality. And I asked Scott to come in and show him some samples, and he was totally blown away. He was really blown away. He's already saying, well, what if I put them online? Are you going to be able to keep up with production? So they're they're fitting right in with the beautiful merchandise of that store. And I would love it if all of you who live in New York will come uptown tomorrow and hang out with us for a little while. It would be so much fun to meet in person. And I could
It
also show
really
you the
would.
downstairs because in March we're going to have a speakeasy going down
Yeah,
in that
I
basement
think
space.
I can't wait. I'm so excited
Yeah.
for that, Anthony.
We're going to be teaching out
Yeah.
of there, and then there's going to be a party. And I'm just going
Hmm.
to say that according to laws, we can only allow, I'm trying to think with the new restrictions, 10 people, but you never know how many tickets are going to be available. So it might be a cool idea just to come up ahead of time and get yourself a ticket. The first hour is going to be live streamed through Crowdcast, but the second half of the workshop, where all the secret ceremonial stuff is taught, is not. And that's why it's worth the $40 to pay your way in. There will be wine and champagne that you can pour yourself because dispensing alcohol is against the law. And, you know,
Hmm.
we don't want to break the law, but I'm going to steal a line from Matthew McConaughey. I think I see a lot of lawbreakers out there. So, whatever happens at Astro West Underground stays in Astro West Underground. And as long as we're all good with it, we're all good with it. But do come up tomorrow and meet us and look at some of his beautiful, beautiful merchandise.
And
So,
I think it's so much fun. We got to have fun again in life. It's
oh
like
God.
we got to
Yeah.
start doing it
Yeah.
safely with the
Yeah.
mask, but we have to start
Well, the mask,
coming out again.
yeah, we do. And we do have to be respectful, but we have to respect ourselves
Yeah,
and also other people who might have different opinions about
yeah,
it, which means,
exactly.
yeah, like
Totally.
I don't know, Scott, where you're at on the idea of the whole vaccine. Um, a lot of people are 100% for it. This would not be my first rodeo with a wonder drug that's supposed to be a panacea. I can remember taking something that was going to save my life forever, and then after about a year, enough toxins accumulated in my soft tissue where there I was being resuscitated again. And it's like, really? We're doing this again? Um, so I'm not
It's
against them.
crazy.
I'm saying that I want to see at least 1 year, preferably 2 years of data telling me about long-term side effects before I submit myself to this. It doesn't mean I'm against it. It just means that I don't want to go down that route again. And it doesn't mean that I think anybody else needs to agree with me or think like I do about this, because we all have to do what we believe is going to keep us
Is
safest.
That's for us. For me,
Right.
I can't take the medicine.
Okay.
My immune system, I don't take vaccines of any kind. I don't take the
Hmm.
measles. I don't take flu
Right.
shot. Nothing. I do
Yeah.
everything with herbs.
Yeah, well, not holistic healing, and actually, you're also going to meet Stacy, who was last week's guest. She's a homeopath. She'll be coming in because she lives in the neighborhood and she's dying to meet you.
I'm
Um,
dying to meet her
but
too.
but this decision that I'm making about the vaccine to wait might be the worst decision I ever came up with in my life. It might be the worst thing I ever did, but I'm going to tell you something. It's the only one that I'm comfortable with. And
And
that's
you
what
have
I'm
every
telling
right.
everybody out there. You do what you want. You want to come? You want to come by? You want to take these workshops? You want to hang out? Do it. You want to keep your mask on? Keep your mask on. You want to take it off? Take it off. We're all adults, okay?
Exactly. Ain't
And
nobody paying your bills, so you can
right,
do whatever you
we know
want.
the risk. And I don't diss anybody who thinks differently than I do. I'm just saying that it is time for us to gather again
Yes, I
because
agree.
we need contact. I mean, people
Totally.
are
I
doing
think
really
people are
crazy
becoming
stuff.
depressed. Yeah, people are becoming
Yeah,
crazy because the human body, we need human contact. We need the eyes. We need emotions, like,
right.
and,
Yeah. We're not a solitary species. We're
right.
not like my cat who would love to live without me.
My cat's a little, forget about it there.
Yeah.
So
We're
affectionate.
we're a social species. No, I was just joking about my cats because they're just
I
guys,
know.
and they could be a little dickish from time to time.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about cats. They love you
Yeah,
when they want, and then they go off
exactly.
and do their own thing.
Yeah, it's on their terms. But
Yeah.
getting back to gathering, Homo sapiens is a social species. We are a communal species. We need to be around each other. We need interaction with each other. And when you're deprived, that's when all that shadow stuff starts coming out and we start acting out on all of our demons. And I'm a little nuts to begin with when I'm out in a crowd. So you can't take somebody like me and
And
confine me
contain
because I
them.
get spiteful, right? I get spiteful, and I'll burn shit down. I'll. And we're
You'll be
seeing
breaking
that
shit.
happen. We're seeing an increase in suicides. We're seeing horrible things, tragic things happening to people. And if our
Alligators being thrown in McDonald's,
I
just
know.
crazy
Yeah,
shit.
but you know what? That's marriage material, that kid. 'Cause it's like, that's somebody who could probably stand being with me. If you're that nuts,
Well,
yeah. It's like, I think he needs a present. Maybe I'll marry him. But he doesn't have, I don't want him anywhere
yeah,
near me. Yeah.
he looked okay. It was kind of cute. A little crazy looking, but he looked all right,
Yeah, well, you pick up a 3 foot alligator off the
Fixable,
side of the road,
fixable.
put it in your passenger seat without taping its mouth shut. No, there's something about this kid that I really like.
That poor
But
alligator.
yeah, I know Pete is going to be all over him. Actually,
Mm.
I saw a really funny meme that I think everybody could enjoy. It was on Facebook, and it was two bears having a conversation, and one of them was holding a PETA T-shirt, and the other one sitting there like a skull near his feet, and he's like, I thought it meant please eat the activists, so I did.
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
we can make fun, we can have fun poked at us. We all just need to lighten up and come together because so many people are at each other's throats and becoming judgmental. Um, so your wands are going to be there. How many do you have altogether?
I believe I have 20 altogether at the
Oh,
store.
cool. Good.
Yeah, so there's going to be
Uh,
20, 21, something like that.
mhm.
and
And
talk, enjoy, like do some healing there, show people how to use
right,
the wands. Like,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
so
Because
it's going to be a
Sunday's a
lot of
pretty
fun.
busy day, but I'd like to see all you guys in the audience.
Yeah,
So come
totally. That
on
would be
by. It
amazing.
could be a party. And there is a downstairs. So, if you want to hang and then come back upstairs, you can do that too.
And
But
they also
meet
have the
Scott.
really cool rock thing,
Oh, the geode cracker.
the
Yeah.
Geo Cracker. Yeah, that's
Yeah, he
awesome.
has geodes the size of a baseball and a machine that he designed that actually cracks them open. And you never know it's like Forrest Gump. Life is
Beautiful.
like a box of
Yeah,
chocolate. Yeah,
I want to
amazing
do it
things
just to see
inside.
what I get.
I'll treat you to one tomorrow. We're gonna see what's going down with that. But that would be a great
Thank
a
you.
great tell because I've seen amethyst come out of there. I've seen a lot of calcite, quartz, things with little stalactites in them. I mean, really cool things.
Wow.
So I'm just reading. Uh, okay, so people are talking about. So we got people talking about free will and COVID vaccines. And that's good because we should be having a discussion. I am not going to be bullied into silence or self cancellation. Okay.
And
I'm
I
not going to
can't
look for
take it.
trouble,
So some
but they
people
will
can't
not
take
break
it.
my spirit. We do need to connect. And I like that we're able to do that, which is why I'm so excited about your gig tomorrow. So, if anybody has
Well, I
any
think that's what's
questions,
great about your show. Your show, you can always talk and express yourself, and there's so many
yeah. And you don't
intelligent
get
people that
judged.
we get to give. Exactly, you get to express your opinion, and then someone else expresses their opinion, and you take it.
Right. Yeah. Well, we have
Yeah.
to respect differences of opinion. My grandmother, when I started dating, because she was really cool with me coming out, but she noticed that I was picking people that were a lot like me, and she sat me down and she says, when two people are exactly alike, one of them is unnecessary. So,
Mm.
and I've always remembered that
That's
we are
funny because my
inclusive, we
husband
are
is the complete
tolerant.
opposite of me.
Good. Yeah. Well, Christian, my partner of 30 years, even physically, he was like 6'4", blonde, fair, blue eyes, very, sophisticated. He had no street in him at all. Um, but he could handle
And then here you
himself. I
come.
mean, he would just pull himself up and get very condescending to whoever was pissing him off. And it was really funny. Our first date, um, we had gone to the Richard Tucker Gala, and then we went to the Russian Tea. He made reservations because
Uh,
we were hanging out for like 2 years. Like, okay, we have and we're going to hear Richard Tucker. We're going to go to Carnegie Hall, see the Richard Tucker Gala, and then I'm going to treat you to dinner. I said, okay, cool. So we're there. We go into the Russian tea room after they gave us the worst table in the world. And Christian said something, as he should have, because he made the reservations about a month prior. And the maitre d' got really snotty with him. And then the Chihuahua jumps up, and I grabbed the maitre d' by his shirt. I says, he was big. I said, you better watch the way you talk to my boyfriend. And Christian's like, boyfriend? I'm not your boyfriend. We're side pieces. Like, fuck you, sit down. I got this. And he's like, you're out of your mind. It's like, you knew this. Just because I have a tux on doesn't mean so, but
you
it
ain't
was a
going to
way.
Florida. You're New Yorker through and through.
The alligators better watch out. But the point is that we're supposed to be different. We're allowed
Yeah,
to have different opinions, and
uh,
because you think differently than you're told you're supposed to think, does not mean you're a bad person.
it
And
doesn't. My
thank you for
husband's an
recognizing that.
atheist, and I'm
Yeah,
a cat. I'm spiritualist.
right.
You know,
Yeah, and it's
we
fine.
make it
Christian
work.
didn't believe in any of this either, but he perfectly accepted. It was he didn't do it just to humor me. He appreciated that I had a legitimate, authentic investment, emotional investment in this, and he thought that was great. So, because it's just that I've noticed, like on Facebook, I hear it on the street. Um, People that have different opinions about what we're being told to believe, like we're a mass of brainless
Yeah.
people. Um, when somebody has a different opinion, they actually, I've seen people and stop talking to people in their own family because of things that are going on lately. And now we have poor Dr. Seuss and poor Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head are no longer married. They've been neutered.
I never,
We got to
I
stop
didn't even
this.
hear about the Dr. Seuss. I didn't even hear about that. That's crazy.
He was canceled in China and California because he spreads racist propaganda. eBay took his, you can't buy his books on eBay anymore. Cancel culture got him. And it's like this guy, they have his survivors and people who knew him. He said there wasn't a racist bone in his body. He wrote those books so that people would be accepting of people who were different. But something's going down and it feels like a lot of control. And I'm not going to make any waves and I'm not going to start a revolution, but I am not going to be crushed.
No,
I would
there's no
rather,
need for us to back down. We have to stay strong. And I think that's
yeah.
what we're here to do.
And as long as we're not forcing it on anybody else, we're good.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
want to see my light? When you're ready to see my light and come to me, then I will show you how to
Mhm.
heal yourself and I will show you what to do. But if you're not ready,
Then you're
go
not
on,
ready.
do your
Yeah.
thing.
So,
Exactly.
what kind of crystals would you use to soften the conflict that is being induced? What do you recommend for people to keep on their person? Because I'm sure you feel it when
Well,
you're outside. So how do you
totally. If you
neutralize that?
want, it depends on what kind of energy you want to carry with you. So if you want to be
Mhm,
softer and you want to be more
mhm,
flowing, I would carry water element crystals. So
mhm,
aquamarine, opal, you know, different like water element crystals. And then if you want fire, you want passion, energy, you have to speak in front of somebody, you take
mhm,
a firestone, which is like ruby,
mhm,
fire agate. So I believe whatever energy you want in the day, you
mhm,
can pick the stone to help you carry that
mhm,
energy. If you want protection, you get tiger eye.
mhm.
If you're working with magic and you want to enhance your magic, you get amethyst and labradorite.
Okay,
Labradorite is
that's a
amazing. I
good
love
combination.
labradorite. Oh yeah,
That's one of my favorites. It's really one of
love
my
it. It's
favorites.
very powerful.
Also, for people that are feeling isolated, bismuth, bismuth. It is
Bismuth.
about connectivity. It helps you connect with yourself if you're feeling like a
Mm,
stranger in your own life, but it also helps, it fosters connection with others so that
yeah,
you can keep yourself as sequestered as you believe you need to. Nobody's going to make fun of you, but you can feel that connection. You're not going to feel so isolated if you work with bismuth. And I always tell people to add a piece of clear quartz
yes,
because that'll amplify everything.
totally. And you can have tea that amplify your psychic ability. It's yarrow, rose, and peppermint.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things out there. There's all the
Right.
tools offered by the earth.
Exactly. These are treasures of the earth. Some of them are buried, some of them are growing on the side of the road as we pass by with our minds.
Yeah, and I just want to say that it's very important to give thanks to everything that you do. So if you're having a cup of tea, give thanks to the herbs that's healing you. Give
Mhm,
thanks to the water that's washing your body in the shower. Giving thanks and like just really communing and being connected is such a beautiful thing and it's magic in its own. And that's where real magic comes from.
mhm.
Compassion for everything on this earth.
Yeah. Just taking a minute to stop yourself from moving so quickly and
And
appreciating.
seeing that bum on the street, seeing that homeless animal being hurt that needs help, just seeing.
Yeah.
That's all.
And it just takes a minute and just eye contact to acknowledge and you're healing.
Yeah.
So,
The littlest things can mean so much.
absolutely. Like showing up at Astro West tomorrow to meet Scott and me. That's a little thing. Just
I
come
love it.
jump on the subway and we're going to
Love
rock
it.
your whole day. Yeah.
Bring it, bring it.
This is really going to be fun. I hope a lot of people come. Andrew, I know you live in New York. You should be there.
Yes, Andrew,
No,
we were talking about you. We're so happy you're here, brother.
yeah, yeah. We notice you every week, and it's like he's such a nice guy.
Really are
Um,
a sweet guy.
so show up tomorrow. Thomas asked, I'm going to answer him bismuth because I just went into chat.
Yeah.
And we sell it at Astro West, Tom. So drag your butt into the city tomorrow and come visit because that's good for connecting with your world around you, but it's also good if you're a medium, if you want to do any work in communicating and connecting with people that have passed on. Somebody else wanted to know if they can't come to New York to see your wands, how could they make a selection to purchase? Um,
So on Facebook, I have ether wands and staffs.
mhm.
So I could put a link in it or somewhere, but I have a Facebook page that you could see all my wands, or um, you can check out Astro West's website if it's going to be displayed on their website, and you can order through them. And I
Mhm.
make special wands. I make wands by order. So if you want a certain
Mhm.
stone or whatever you want, I can make it
Excellent.
for you.
Yeah, and what I'll say about Astro West, because of the kind of business they are, we have people calling from all over the world. Do you have a specimen? A lot of them are interested in museum specimens or investment specimens because these things do increase in value as the years go on. Oh, that's great. That's Scott's page. But it is not unusual for somebody to call and then for Mark, the owner, to show them either on Skype or FaceTime a sample. So he might be able to do that with your wands too. If somebody called from out of state and says, "Well, what do you have?" He can very easily show them because he does that all day long. He does it with a lot of collectors. He works with mine owners that have to show him things. Things
The
can be
stuff there is
emailed, they can
amazing.
be texted. So yeah, if anybody isn't in New York is planning on visiting soon, before we go right down the toilet, so hurry up. It's a really great place. It's like being in a museum, except that the
It
people are
really is.
friendly
You
and you
get
can touch a
lost.
lot of things. Yeah,
Like
you can
you're
be there
just in
all
such
day long.
awe. I have like saliva dripping out of my mouth. I'm like,
So,
looking at those
does
stones.
anybody
It's
want a
amazing.
reading from Scott? Would anybody like Scott to do a reading for them to sample his shoot from the hip New York style? That could be fun. Um, Shamila, you can come tomorrow. Um, yeah, and if you want to come online and speak to us, follow the eCam link in the chat above. Um, if not, um, we'll wrap soon, but uh, you have really been a delight. But what touches me most about you is you're nobody's fool. I wouldn't want to tangle with you. I wouldn't want to get on your bad side, but there's such a gentle, open, nurturing, beautiful side to you that coexists simultaneously with the street smarts, and that's very rare. That's like true trickster energy. Um,
Yeah.
so
Well, I
if you
believe that
have,
the mundane life helped it to be like that.
absolutely, absolutely, because it's a good balance. So if there's anything, any thought about anything besides come to Astro West tomorrow that you would like to say to our audience before we wrap, what would it be? What was the most wonderful thing? What was the greatest catalyst that allowed you to keep your sensitivity and still deal with everything? What would your advice to people who are thinking about coming out and exploring and using their ability and maybe developing themselves where they can serve other people? What's your greatest takeaway um, for an
My
authentic
greatest
life?
takeaway is do it. The
Just
amount
do
of
it.
energy and the love that you're going to get from the universe, from the animals, from everything, it's going to be such an awakening. Your eyes are going to be the beauty you're going to see. It's going to be incredible. Just see the movie Lucy, and then you'll
Oh, yeah.
understand what I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's good advice. So, thank you all for coming. We're going to wrap early because nobody's. Let me just check my browser one more time.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for making
Oh,
as a guest.
anytime, anytime, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. This is going to be fun.
I
We're just
can't
going
wait
to
either. I'm
spend,
excited.
yeah. Okay, so I'll see you noon tomorrow. Everybody,
See
noon to
you noon.
5, come up, see us, take a trip. And just a couple of more announcements before I go, and then we're going to just call it a night. We're starting real-time classes on March 21st. We're also going to be celebrating the equinox because that's about those little sprouts coming up through the ground and finally breaking through the topsoil. And I think I told you that my courses were my seed that I was harvesting this year. So that'll be happening. We'll do an orientation. They will be available online for free in this live cast. And you can pay to come in person. We'll talk more about that next week. Right now, my guests next week, I have two. Neither of them have confirmed. So I'm either going to have a hypnotherapist who also does past life regression, or Mariana Leah Hernandez and I are going to do a show on mediumship. So you'll know when you get the notice from Esoteric New York who's going to be on, and either one of them is going to be a lot of fun to attend. So with that, I thank you. I thank Scott for being such a spectacular person and for showing up here tonight and sharing all of his love with everybody. And I just have to say thank you, and I will see you next time.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.